Good morning and happy holidays. Now there's a term that tries to be objective so that we don't get the wrong knowledge. Okay, the lecture today on the philosophy of education, the specific topic is epistemology. And that's how you spell it. And it comes from the word episteme, knowledge, and then the study of. So we're studying knowledge. And what we're trying to find out here is what knowledge do we need as a teacher to implement the reason and purposes for which we were hired. So let me go back to this board now. We've had this before. I call these existence. That means rocks, insects, humans, and such. And over here I have values. So remember we decided, okay, we're going to allow these things to exist whether they do or not. But if people say they do, I have to, as a teacher, accept that. I'm not going to argue. I'm not the decider, the decision maker on whether they exist. And I'm not the decision maker here either. Most of these things come from that group of existence right there, the humans. All of these values. There's a lot more, but I only have a few here. So what I want to do today is say, okay, now here's what we are. Here's what we want. What knowledge do we need to ensure that we stay in existence as long as we can, and we can follow these values, which we prize. That's why we made them, and we've talked a lot about them over the years. So what's the main thing? Now, I don't want to talk about the value of the rock, the values that the rock has created. I don't know, but let's get into humans and gods. It seems like where most of the values they revolve around that. So let's take the humans. Okay, he comes up and he says, what is very valuable to me is energy. My body has to have energy. So he ensures that he gets that energy and follows that value. He just doesn't say, well, we'll just go die. No, I got to stay alive, and I got to stay alive healthy. So he creates all kind of systems. You know, we're talking about the climate change. We're talking about we need wind power. We can't use the fuel anymore. And then we come down to the basic food. Well, you have to have good food. And all that's part of that knowledge that the teacher should have when he's teaching and educating students. So when he talks about it, well, here we need energy. He's got to talk about energy from the point of view of moving airplanes through the air to, hey, did you have lunch? Sixth grader, did you eat your lunch? Are you getting a good lunch? Because you have to have energy to study here, and to play. So along this thing, along this continuum of energies, let me use that one. We say, okay, if you're wasting energy on Earth, oh, you're a bad guy, and you will be ostracized, and you will be told how evil you are, just like right now. Well, Trump's saying, okay, the energy crisis is not that bad. Now, I don't think he's denying that we have a climate problem and that we're messing it up with the carbon. But I don't know quite what he's doing. But anyway, this is what we do. We implement steps and the knowledge and the facts and opinions, theories to try to make sure we continue this, because this is what we want. All right, let me jump down here now to, well, the safety is probably the next an important one, because you say, well, we have to be safe. We have to be safe on our planet. We have to be safe in our neighborhood, even in our own home. We don't want somebody, and it's basically in a school, the child has to be safe, and if you feel like he's bullied, he doesn't feel very safe. So what do? How do we make sure that this value is implemented and endures, and that the people following us agree with us? Well, you set up, okay, you're a bully, you're a bad guy. If you're a nice guy, you're complimented. And if you're a bad guy, you might get, oh, you're a bad driver. You get fined. Pretty soon you say, oh, you're going to jail because you assaulted that guy. And if you take out one of us, you get the death sentence. This is how we keep this thing going the way we want it. This value is something we're trying to trying to enable, trying to encourage. And so we make these rules, and they range, I guess you'd say, from supportive to, let's put it this way, where you really support this value to you reject anybody that goes against it. And there's different forms of that. Okay, let me go down to, let's go to life. Now this is a created and an assigned value, meaning we drew the conclusion, and we draw it all the time, that life is important. Now if you looked around at nature and the universe, it'd be hard to agree that it's important, because we're in such a minority, we're such a small part of the universe. What makes us think we're important? But that doesn't matter. We, the people, and as educators, I have to say, okay, we think this is important. Now, let's try to encourage, perpetuate that, keep it going, and in the manner that we want. So anybody that threatens your life, he gets punished. If you support him, he gets an award. You know, the people who do the research, the scientists, they're awarded. You know, they get grants to do this, and we're encouraging that. Now, okay, you say, well, where's the knowledge coming in? Why are we talking about that? That's all of these facts, information, theories, even opinions that we gather up here in all of these areas so that we can perpetuate this. And that's what the teacher now is in the classroom saying, all right, Johnny, you know, that's why you have a health class. Or that's why and then you say, well, why do you have a math class? What's that help? Well, you need math to try to calculate some of these other things, to keep these enduring. So then you have to have a language class. You got to have English and be able to write it, or you wouldn't even be able to communicate. Communication becomes very important here, because that's what this is to the student. I'm trying to communicate. Now, one of the obligations I feel as a teacher, I don't go create, opinions that are false or that don't help this. That's why I go to university to learn how to be a teacher. And that's what this course is about, philosophy of education. To be a teacher, I have to learn all of this so I can say, okay, now I work for that school system, that's what they want. Now you might say, oh, they're all the same. No, you go work for a Christian school system, they have different things in their curriculum. Now they do have to have the basics, but they have religion. And if you're teaching religion, well, then you have to, and I've been hired to do that, to teach religion. That's what you teach. Now, you say, well, that's not a public school. No, public school you don't do that. But in that Catholic school, or that Muslim school, or wherever it is, when they hire you, that's what they want you to do. And that's their right. That's because you're the teacher hired to do this job. All right, the next area now I want to get into the gods. Now, you say, well, there's a lot of time spent on what the God, what he thinks of life, or she, I guess I better say, or maybe fluid, or maybe I better be careful here. But so let's take the value of life. So we either say this is what the gods want, or this is what they want. I don't know. I can't say, well, you're just talking, you're just making this up. No, I'll allow that. So we spend a lot of time in saying, okay, what's God want? Let's go to morality. That'd be a construct, a moral morality, morals. So somewhere, somebody, or God said, you've got to be moral. You can't swear, you can't kill, you can't abuse. You have to go to church on certain days, and you have to help the poor. And now, okay, if let's say it's God doing that, I'll take the word. Well, it's the word of the Bible. That came right from God. Well, I'll buy that, because I'm not here to decide whether that's Bible. Okay, we're talking about the moral construct, or morality, or God says you have to be good people. You can't be evil. Now here's how they set up the system. Either God or these people helping God, saying, oh, you are a good guy, so you will go to heaven. but you're a bad guy. You go to some place, hell, or some evil place, some place you don't like. That's how they ensure that that construct here, I should have had this down here under morality, morals. And here's heaven and hell. And if you don't follow these, then you go there. Now, that's what I have to do in the classroom. Is if I'm teaching that, that's what I have to say to the child. This is where, well, hey, this is what God is saying. Whether I'm accurate or not, if I'm working for that school system, I don't have the right to go in and say, well, no, yeah, I don't believe all this. You get fired. I guess that's how they do it. But the obligation of a teacher is not to make, not make the absolute decisions. It's to teach whatever this group wants you to teach. If you don't like what they're saying to teach, then don't work for them. You have to go someplace else. That's why they have different universities. You have public universities, you have private universities, you have religious universities, and so you go where you want. But they'll all end up about the same when they're talking about morals, Although you can have people say, the morals, there's no such thing. Well, that's another whole area. But anyway, so let me just go back over my definition of epistemology and why we want to know what knowledge is, what we teachers, I as a teacher have to know what knowledge. It's whatever those, I need the facts, I need statements, I need evidence, I need communication, I need theories to help me guide those students into respecting and following and promoting and continuing to believe in these things. And it takes knowledge to do that. And so this whole package of this information and theories and that we call knowledge. That's what epistemology is. Thank you very much. Happy holidays. And see you next time.